Welcome to tonight's crop. It is Thursday, September 4th, and my name is Denise Cowell, and I'm a Creative Memories Advisor in Ormond Beach, Florida, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about the Grateful Harvest. So let's go to my desk. The first thing that I am going to do is go through the project playbook, and there is a separate video that's going to go up the same time that this one does, where I actually record and give you some tips as we go through the playbook. But quickly, what I wanted to do was show you what's in the playbook and then show you my completed pages, because you won't see that in the video. So this one was done by Kylie Kingham in Australia, and if you follow her, she's an amazing designer, has lots of really cool ideas. But in here there is Project 1 is a one-page layout, Project 2 is a one-page layout, 3 and 4 are one-page layout, and Project 5 is the only one that's a two-page layout. So what I did is I changed most of mine to two-page layouts, and I still have at least 5 full sheets of paper and a whole bunch of other pieces. So you can do, as well as a project recipe, because I saved my project recipe first. So I was able to get you can get 10 plus your project recipes, 12 pages plus more out of here. So here is the first layout. So if we look at project 1, and I'm not going to go into the cutting guide, because if you watch my other video, I kind of give you the tips and walk through the tips, and then I go through the changes to the cutting guide. I didn't redo one, but we walk through, 1A goes with piece 1, with layout 1. You know how we line everything up. So I do that in the other video. So here is project 1. You can see this is the one-page layout here. I did not cut my mats. I wanted to save it to make sure that I didn't want to make them any different. So the mats aren't cut, but I did change them to be two-page layouts. And you can see in this one for the border, the laser border, they have it over here in a mat cutting it all off. You can just cut that in half and put it across both pages. So it's just a mirror image for layout number 1. So for layout number 2, I did only do one page, and I talk about this because I think this would be a really nice end to my album page. But you've got enough paper to do the matching page, and if you did a matching page, I would just have 4x4 mats on this side. So this one is a little bit intricate, making these little cuts, and I kind of stop and explain how to do those, and then making this stacked pumpkin. So that is project number 2, and again, I only did one. Now project number 3, again, none of them are finished with mats yet, and this is my mat paper. And if we look at the cutting guide, sorry, excuse me, for the mat, and as I explained in the other video, I also used some hot fudge cardstock. So you can get, if you cut your fences out of hot fudge, you'll be able to get a duplicate of these mats out of this piece of paper. And again, I haven't cut them yet in case I want to do something different. So this is the, I'm missing a cart. This is the duplicate page, and again, it's mirrored to what's in the layout guide. And if you see here where it says fall, that's these stickers here that are on the sticker sheet. So layout 3, I was able to make into a 2-page layout. Now layout number 4, if you see in the guide, it is using this, let me just bring it out. Oh, this paper, this wheat paper. It goes on the background, and I decided that instead of using 2 pieces of wheat, I had some, what was called oats. I used just cardstock instead of not wasting, but instead of using both of these, I could save that for another project. So I just used cardstock at the back. And I was able to just duplicate everything here. Again, this side isn't completed. I do have my mats cut. There is a tip, because on this page, you may not notice, but it doesn't line up. Because of the way we had to cut this paper, designer paper number 2, is a little bit shorter, but we had a piece left over that I could piece together. Once you put the mat over it, you don't even see it. So I talk about that in the other video, how to kind of piece those two together. And then again, this layout, uses a couple of the laser borders, which I just have them laid out. And again, once you have these together, you could put them across both sides. You could use one or you could use both, right? So that is layout 4. And then layout number 5 is the duplicate, is a double page layout. Now this is made with the orange, which is paper number 11, this orange plaid. I had this brown plaid that was left, and I had enough leftovers to do this page with the circles. So I figured, you know, now I have this whole page of orange plaid left over. So I decided to change it to the brown plaid, and this is the 2-page layout. Again, I don't have my mats cut, but there is layout number 5. So I really like this. I think I can use this for my Arizona trip because we're going in the fall, and I think it'll be really nice for those papers. But tonight we are going to work on the project recipe. So what you need for this one is they are using Stardust for the background, and this was paper, may not cardstock. It was available in a buffet, and then they brought it and maybe sold out yet. It just has a little bit of a fleck in the paper, if you can see that. So you need 2 pieces of that cardstock for the back. It says 1 piece of avocado. You actually don't need an entire sheet of avocado. We can get away with 8 inches, and I had an 8-inch piece, so I have that. And then you need 2 other sheets, designer paper number 1, which is going to be my leaves, designer paper number 2, which is the dark brown, and we're going to be cutting some borders with that. And then we need to have this 5-inch circle that we're going to talk about. This page paper, I used all of this paper, and I welded. You'll see in layout 1, I welded to have enough for the 2 pages as well as for this leftover. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to use that and not make a furl. I can't make a 5-inch circle on here, but I'm going to show you how we can do 2 half circles. So you will also need a punch. So a chain punch, and I am going to use the fence punch. And then you are going to need your medium circle with the, well, we're going to talk about that because it says the blue braid. On the back it says a 5-inch circle. We're actually going to look at the circle guide, which I have out, to see what we should actually be using to make a 5-inch circle. So we'll do that when we get to that paper. So let's start with designer paper number 1, and that is going to be this coral A and B, and we're going to be using the reverse, this blue part, to make 2 tags. And I actually brought out my tag punch, so we can either use a tag punch or we can cut it out. So I have that out also. So let's get our trimmer, and we will start. And we need piece A is a 3-inch piece. And this one's non-directional. You just might want to look to see how you want that on your page. I'll just go this way. So piece A is 3 inches. And that is going to go on our left-hand side. It's going to go right here is piece A. Now we're going to cut piece B. And piece B is 2.5 inches. And piece B will go down here on the right hand side. And then piece C and D and E, we're going to cut another 2.5-inch piece. So we are going to have this piece left over, so you can put that in your leftovers. We're going to rotate this one, and we're going to cut it at 7 inches. And that is going to go on the left-hand side. And now we're going to cut 2 that are going to be 2.5 by 1.5. So we have the 2.5. We're going to put it on our right-hand side, and we're going to cut 2 that are 1.5. And then we're going to see if we can use that tag punch or not. So 1.5. And I think I want this color, 1.5. Oh, actually, we're using the blue side, so it doesn't matter. 1.5. So I'll just put those up at the top. I'm going to make some tags out of those. This one's extra. Our next one is our brown piece, and we're going to have a couple pieces and then punch some borders. So let's punch our borders first. And we're going to cut 2 borders. One of them is going to be cut at 7 inches, and then one's going to be at 12 inches. So one is going to go, the 7-inch one is going to go on the left-hand side, and the 12-inch one on the right-hand side. And we don't have any of this paper left over, so I don't have to worry about the reverse. So let's cut our borders. And let's get, now this punch, if you have it, it does have that little diamond at the bottom to line yours up. Since it's such a repeating pattern, make sure that you use that, because I didn't one time, and then I punched one time too far and one time too close, and just use that little the triangle diamond that's sticking up at the bottom, and line everything up whichever way you're punching it. So there's our first one. And then let's cut. So now you will be left with all those little diamonds on this paper. I just kind of go and straighten it out. We don't have a lot of paper left over for this one, so I just go cut them off so that my paper is straight at that edge. And we will cut one more, and then we'll cut this one to be 7 inches. 7 inches once it's cut out. So let's do that. So this paper does go with Oktoberfest paper. So that's nice. We'll have lots we can work on at Oktoberfest. We are going to look at the new Creative Memories Embosser and die cut machine that'll be coming out in the new year. We'll play with that at Oktoberfest also, if you're coming in person. Okay, so let's bring back our trimmer. We're going to cut one of these at 7 inches. Okay, so we have some leftovers. 7-inch one, as I said, goes on the left. 12-inch one goes on the right. We're going to have a little bit left here. Let's see what we have. Let's go back and cut piece F, which is 12 by 6. So let's cut that at 6 inches. This one is going to go on the right hand side, and we need a 2-inch piece, so we do have a little bit left over, just in case your punch is a little bigger or you're not using a chain punch, if you're using an edge punch. Okay, so the 2-inch piece G is going to go on the left hand side. And we'll put the rest of that down in a minute, just getting on the side. So our last one, we're going to come back to the circles. Let's do our mats and change this in your instructions. We're going to, why they have this one over here, I don't know. We're going to cut N underneath M. So we're going to cut a 4 by 6. This way we have an entire 4 by 12 sheet. So we're going to cut this at 4 inches for L. So L is going to be 4 by 6. And we'll put that in a mat pile. Oh, didn't quite get that. And then O is going to be 4 by 4. And because I only had a 4-inch sheet, what you're going to do if you have a 12-inch sheet is cut it 4 inches, turn it, and cut it in half, and that will give us M and N. Okay, so that's our mats. And then the last thing that we need to do is cut our circle. And this is what I wanted to kind of just go over, because if we look here, it says cut a 5-inch circle. And it didn't say what blade, what color blade, which template to use. So on the front it says, to create piece J, use the medium circle with the blue blade. Well, if I look at my mat, the blue blade gives me a 5.5-inch circle. So I don't know if it wants me to make a 5-inch circle or a 5.5-inch circle. And with the one, I already did this with a different paper, but I didn't. I need to find that one. to show you, I made a smaller circle. So if we're going to make a 5-inch circle, you're actually going to use the red blade with the medium. And if you're using your circle cutter, you can just use the 5-inch on your circle cutter. Now, if we look at this, because I only had a scrap paper, I don't have enough to cut a 5-inch circle. So I'm going to cut 2 half circles. So if you didn't have enough of a scrap, we're just going to cut 2 half circles. And so I'm going to use some washi tape to attach my paper to my mat, and just so that it doesn't move and the washi tape won't stick to my paper. And we were just cut. You can have a little bit bigger, but because we're going to hide them in here. But again, you know, if we use the medium with the blue, you're going to get 5.5. And what this is doing, this is giving you your building spot of where you're going to build your embellishment clusters from. So we're just going to do a 5-inch. And when I'm doing a half, you should just start in the middle. And I ripped my paper because my feet weren't in properly. That's what happens when I can't stand up to do this. Okay, so there's one, and then I'll cut one more. Save paper I can cut over here, then I saves me a piece. It's okay, I'm cutting through my washi tape. That's okay, it'll come off. Okay, and then this will come off everything, not a problem. And there's my 2. It's not a half circle, doesn't matter, it's going to hide inside, so that's fine. So let's get this put together. Okay, so let's get this dry fit together. We have most of it laid out already. So on the left-hand side, we have piece A. And then beside that, we have that brown one, which is piece G. And piece C was the small one. So it's going to fit in here. They should all fit together. So you're not wasting underneath, as well as then this one on top. We'll put one of our half circles up here at the top. And then we have our mats. We have a 4x6, 4x6. And again, I'm only dry fitting because you don't need to watch me attach all of this. And then we have a 4x4. And then on the right-hand side, piece F, we are just going to be putting, that's a big mat, so that's going to hold 3.5 by 5.5 inch photos without matting them. Get those out of the way. At the bottom, we're going to have B, which is from designer paper number 1. We are going to have our fence. Then we have another mat. So we have on this page, we'll have 4 3.5 by 5 photos. We'll have our half circle, which will stick under here. And this one, you know, you have a little bit of the fence coming through that one. Now, the only thing we have left to do, that was really simple. The only thing we have left to do is take our 2 banners. Now, I wanted to see, because I have the banner punch, I don't have both banner punches. I have one that is a circle. And yes, but this holds 1 inch, and these are 1.5. So, and look, you see, I can't even see the end of it. So let's make it how the instructions I wanted to see. So what the instructions say for D and E, after cutting D and E, mark 1/4 inch from each corner on the short end and cut from one mark to the other. Oh, that one's too small. What did I do? I cut that one too small. Oh, I see what I did. Wait, so this is supposed to be, one of mine is too small. It's supposed to be 1.5 inches by 2.5. So I'm just going to cut another one since I had leftovers, so they can be the same. Okay, there we go. So you can mark, if you think you can do it well enough, you can just cut off the corners. You know, what I might do is kind of fold them over and then cut off the 2 corners. There, now at least they're all the same. If I screwed up, they're all the same. Then get your hole punch And we're just going to punch a hole in each one of these. Oh, I should have punched them both together so they would be the same. I'll line them up. So we're making our own tags. There we go. And then these go, one goes up here. And this is the only blue that we actually have on these pages, are these two little banners. There's no other blue on this page. And then you can see they have an embellishment cluster up here that says Awesome Autumn. They have a little embellishment cluster here. Room for journaling here, unless you wanted your title to go across there. And then they have another embellishment cluster here and room for more journaling. As you know, for me, I'm not big on journaling, so it's a lot of extra space for that. Or pictures if you want. So that is the Grateful Harvest project recipe, as well as 9 to 10 other pages I got from the project playbook. And I still have enough paper left over probably to do at least 2 to 4 more pages. So I really like this one. The other thing to note with this package is there are 3 embellishment packages besides, you know, the stickers and the borders, which are nice. And the borders, though, aren't two-sided. You know how a lot of our borders are two-sided with different colors? These aren't. These are white on the back, so they're only one-sided. But there are 3 embellishment packages, and each one has 9 embellishments. So there's harvesting, right? So anything to do with a harvest with the equipment. There's tailgating. So if you do tailgating parties, you know, football. And then there's hunting. So if you do hunting, there's some hunting embellishments. And then a lot of this paper in here, let me show you some of it, is really good if you're working on a recipe book or, because look at this cool paper. And even for, you know, Thanksgiving pies. So there's a lot of the alternate sides of these. You know, that's your pumpkin spice. So the alternate sides are a lot of baking, and I think most of those I've used. I've maybe got some. See this one here, you can only see it would have been a pie, right? So lots that you can do with this. The embellishments have a lot of pumpkin spice and pies and pumpkins and just a big combination of fall in this package. Oh yeah, and the other one I have that says fall, we were looking at that sticker pack. So that's the other one. Here's the Awesome Autumn. So that's what I have for tonight. We reviewed the 10 pages and we completed the project recipe. So thanks for joining me. Please post your completed pages in the VIP group. I'd love to see your pages. And thanks for joining me. Happy scrapping. See you all again soon. Bye for now.